Hi, this is Deepak. How are you? So, I'm still in Israel, and tonight is my event on You Are the Universe Discovering Your Cosmic Self here in Tel Aviv. We are expecting almost 5,000 people, so it's going to be a great evening, starting around 5 and going on till probably midnight. And so here's today's answer to a question by Derek Whitney. Knowing that just on an individual form and self level, when we are loved, we experience flow. So too on a species level, if we could be loved, how would we flow? Is it worth discussing and documenting in some way what a beautiful, perfect, all-cooperating human earth might be like, in the hope that encouraging many to think about it will contribute more energy towards that vision. In a universe of complete unlimited cosmic possibilities, and for the grain of sand on the beach of eternity that we are here for, why not aim stratospherically high? So basically what Derek is saying, if love is the ultimate healer, then why don't we heal ourselves and the world? Well, actually, let's go back historically. This has been said so many times. Jesus said, love your enemies. If somebody slaps you on the cheek, turn the other cheek. If somebody robs you, give them even your garment, etc., etc. Buddha focused on love, compassion, empathy, joy, equanimity as divine attitudes and emotions. And over and over in every spiritual experience, love has been emphasized as the ultimate healer. So love is the ultimate healer because love is unity consciousness. Love is understanding that the awareness in which we know and experience reality is basically common to all of us. There's one awareness and there are many modes of perception. And that's where the problem lies. The many modes of perception cause the illusion of the separate self. And then the separate self is built up on ideas and ideologies and interpretations and constructs that divide us. If one can go beyond that, if one can go beyond judgment and labels and evaluations and assessments and become the silent witnessing self of both your own individual body, mind and everybody else, and step back into the field of awareness, you would definitely see that we are all from the same source, and you would definitely experience it, that we are all from the same source. But in the absence of that experience, love can be mood making. You can make a mood of love and yet not be in love. Being in love is a state of pure awareness. Otherwise, you can create the mood. You can create the mood, and in fact, if you're not in that state of awareness, it could cause even more frustration, more anger, and more conflict. Mood making can never solve the conflict. The conflict can only be solved if you get into the state of awareness when you are love at the level of being. Not by what you say, not by what you do, but just your presence is love. Now, if you are there, and you can be there once in a while, but you have to pay attention to it. You have to be non-reactive. You have to respect the other's point of view. You have to realize that every perspective has a context. You have to have emotional intelligence, you have to have empathy, you have to feel your feelings, you have to feel the other's feelings, you have to speak in a way that is non-confrontational, you have to refrain from belligerence, you have to stop stereotyping, you have to be ready to forgive, and you have to be ready to ask for forgiveness. You have to face your own fears, you have to face the other person's fears, you have to have an honest conversation about your values and respect the other person's values. But all of this cannot be happening unless you transcend the subject-object split. And that's why love has been so difficult for most people, because of centuries of conditioning. Centuries of conditioning. I am this race, I'm this ethnic background, I'm this nationality, I'm rich, I'm poor, I'm master, I'm slave. All these centuries of conditioning have prevented us from knowing the true self, which is love. And when you are at that level, hi Ruth Cummings, happy birthday. So when you're at that level, then homeostasis kicks in, self-regulation kicks in, self-correction happens. Healing is biological. Biological healing is nothing but the return to the memory of wholeness. As I've said before, health, healing, wholeness, holy is the return to the memory of wholeness. So now let me ask you, are you ready to love Hitler? Are you ready to love anybody that you consider your enemy? Are you ready to love what is happening in the world right now, in the United States, in those who behave, in your opinion, in a way that is racist and bigoted and full of hatred and full of anger? If you are, you would achieve miracles. So I think this is a very good question. Can we heal ourselves, and can we heal the world by being love? Being love is first. If you are being love, then you can feel love. If you can feel love, then you can reflect on love. If you can reflect on love, then you can speak lovingly. And if you can speak lovingly, then you can act lovingly. It takes all those levels, but of those, being comes first. Being, feeling, reflecting, speaking and doing. In a way, these are forms of yoga. Yoga is many faceted, but one aspect of yoga is the yoga of love. And that yoga of love demands that you be totally non-judgmental. That yoga of love means that you recognize that everyone is doing the best they can from their level of awareness, from their level of consciousness. And also, if you look at some of the most hateful people, you'll see that at some point in their lives they must have been abused as children, either sexually abused or verbally abused, or their self-esteem was taken away from them, or maybe they were physically abused. And that trauma of childhood then plays itself out when they get old. So people who have been abused become abusers themselves. So this is a big question. Can love heal? Yes. Are we capable of that degree of love? Yes. Are we doing that in practice? Obviously no. In fact, this very question today by Derek Whitney asked me to reflect on my own behavior. And as I look back, even the last several months, I've been pretty judgmental about Mr. Donald Trump. I've been pretty judgmental about the political situation. And, you know, I've been chastised by people. You're spiritual, why do you judge so much? And sometimes I feel my intellect says, you know, it is important to speak out on issues and values that that you feel strongly about. But in deep reflection, even though at a certain stage of our development it's important to speak about these issues because you feel strongly about them, if you actually transcend these issues, you add more to peace and love in the world. Because peace can only be created by those who are peaceful. And love can only be shown by those who have loved at a deep level. So love begins when we are ready to forgive. And in the beginning, it may be helpful to know that it is okay to forgive even if the other person doesn't deserve forgiveness in your mind. You forgive not because the other person deserves forgiveness, you forgive because you deserve peace. And when you are peaceful, then that opens the window to gratitude, which opens the window to joy, which opens the window to compassion and empathy, and ultimately the window to healing. This question from Derek came at an important point in our world right now. I think all of us at this moment need to ask, can I make love the motivation for every choice that I make? So even asking that question is an important part of the journey. Can we make love the motivation for every choice? Then we will be holy, we will be whole, and we will be healed. Today's environment asks us all to be more loving. And if you can't go all the way, let's go start today with a little bit moving in that direction of love. As they say, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So today maybe we can all ask ourselves, how do I take the first step in the direction of love? How do I take the first step in the direction of love? Mazal Taib says, welcome to Israel. Thank you, Mazal. And I hear Mark Cloughton says, yes, by not watching the biased news for a start, and give up newspapers, maybe for some people that could happen. Bernardo Winsford Singh says, I apologize for being stubborn. No need to apologize. Just that's another very good point. You know, when you become self-aware, transformation occurs spontaneously. So just to be observant of our own attitudes and behaviors, and that awareness, that silent witnessing of our own self starts the journey of love as well. Mona from Sweden, love from Sweden, back to you, love. Mona. Nalwathi Dela, love from South Africa, back to you in South Africa. Love from Asheville, North Carolina, back to you, JJ Forrest Whitehead. And so much love coming right now from all over the world, and I feel the energy of love here in this cyberspace. Maybe today we can start the journey of spreading the pandemic of love across the world. So Derek, thanks for bringing up this question. I'm continuing here in Israel for a few days and will be in touch. The book, You Are the Universe, remains on the bestseller list. Thank you to all of you. If you're in the United States, then the weekend has started a special programming on public television on You Are the Universe, Discovering Your Cosmic Self. So if you're in the US, be sure to watch the show and give me your feedback. And otherwise, we'll stay in touch right here and continue our journey today as ambassadors of love. Let's all become ambassadors of love. Okay, before I take off today, let me give you a little glimpse of where I am and what's happening here in Israel. I'll take you on a little trip outside my window. I showed this to you yesterday. So there is the beautiful marina outside my window. Out in the distance is the Mediterranean Sea. You see these settlements, and Tel Aviv is all across there. And it's a beautiful sunny day, and we will just stay in touch from here for the next few days. Tomorrow I'm going to Jerusalem, and I'll be in touch from there. Okay, Mindy says, I love this book, You Are the Universe, must read. Now everyone. Thank you, Mindy, for being such a supporter. Okay, so maybe I'll take care, all the best, and be well.